Aquamirae is an adventure mod based on the idea of creating a biome that tells its story through ambient structures and logbooks. So, let's begin. The Ice Maze is a massive cluster of structures that covers the surface of the deep frozen ocean biome. The structures form an ice layer at sea level, separating the underwater part of the biome. The surface of the biome contains many different sized structures, from decorative rocks and loot camps to large key buildings. It's safe here during the day. At night, many aggressive moths spawn here. Sometimes you can find wandering tortured souls and golden moths flying in ice arches. The only plant you can find here is the Wisteria niveus. Underwater is a huge space between the ice layer and the seabed. It has no special structures, however only here can you find some plants and creatures. The water will freeze if you try to come down here without a 3-bolt armor. Everywhere else you can find Oxgelium and Elodia. Spinefish and anglerfish spawn here at any time. When an anglerfish spawns, there is a 0.5% chance that the mother of the maze will spawn with it. For structures, there is an ice-clad ship with pillagers and vindicators on board, located on the surface. Killing the pillager in the captain's cabin will give you a shell horn. In the hold, you can find several villagers locked in cells. You can find the dagger of greed in chests with a small chance. The logbook is located in the captain's cabin. The outpost is a massive tower built from ship parts. There are many pillagers and vindicators inside. It's located on the surface. It doesn't contain any key items. The logbook is located in the bow of the ship. The shelter is the final and largest structure. The shelter is located underground, but it can be reached through a long well located on the surface. It is the only place where the eel spawns. Each shelter has only one eel. Many tortured souls roam near the shelter. In addition to pillagers and vindicators, there is an evoker inside. On the top floor you can find a frozen chest. The logbook is in the room with the main entrance littered with barrels. In terms of plants, the Wisteria niveus is a 2-block sized bushy plant often growing on the surface. It's used for crafting green dye, it may be transplanted, and the naturally generated instances of it additionally drop sticks and snowballs. Oxygelium is a compound plant often found growing underwater. It contains oxygen in its buds. Upon contact with a bud, you will get underwater breathing effect for a short time. It isn't a renewable plant and won't grow taller when transplanted, but you can make it taller yourself. After consuming the buds, they will bloom again after a while. It can grow up to 10 blocks tall. It's used for crafting foods and oxygen tanks. There is a small chance that instead of the usual buds, a green cyan bud will grow. Such buds drop experience instead of underwater breathing effect. Excessive consumption of buds can cause nausea and auditory hallucinations. Elodia is a single block plant growing underwater. It usually grows near Oxygelium. It's used for crafting cyan dye and it may be transplanted. Now we'll take a look at the mobs of the mod. The golden moth is an ambient creature that spawns at night on the surface and prefers to spawn in ice arches. It's passive and doesn't react to damage. It drops some gold nuggets and ingots. It can be caught in a vanilla glass bottle for further placement as a decoration. The spinefish is a common fish that spawns in schools underwater. Anglerfish do not attack spinefishes due to their correlation resembling a fish skeleton. They drop raw spinefish. After eating spinefish, you will get sharp bones. The maw is a terrestrial aggressive fish-like creature that spawns at night on the surface. The maw jumps at its targets to deal damage. It drops fins and rarely drops a slime ball. The anglerfish is an aggressive creature that spawns underwater at any time. It is more common during the day, since at night it is more likely to be displaced by spawning maws. When spawned, it has a 0.5% chance to also spawn Mother of the Maze nearby. It can jump onto land when trying to attack you. Anglerfish can't move on land and falls on its side, but despite this, it doesn't suffocate without water. The tortured soul is a creature that looks like an icy vindicator. It sometimes spawns on the surface at night. It spawns in large numbers in the shelter. When following a target, it can become invisible and increase its movement speed for a short time. During invisibility, its attacks deal more damage and inflict a blindness effect. The eel is a large, stationary mob that spawns in the shelter. It has a large amount of health and is a mini-boss. The echo of the ship graveyard is guaranteed to drop from an eel. The eel periodically makes a series of 1 to 3 attacks if its target is close enough, and heals based on damage dealt. The eel can emit a powerful roar that knocks back the target, and it can't be moved by pushing or liquid. It can move by closing into the ground and climbing out in another place. The Mother of the Maze is a massive stingray-like creature with a cluster of amethysts on its back. It is a mini-boss and can spawn underwater. When the mother spawns, all nearby players will receive the following chat message: "You feel a vibration under the ice." The mother will attempt to break the ice under its target with its amethyst growth. It is a source of abyssal amethyst. The ghost of Captain Cornelia is the main boss of Aquamirae. It can be summoned with the Shellhorn. Cornelia is the only source of 3-bolt helmet, coral lance, and sweet lance. Upon spawning, it gains the levitation effect for a short time. When Cornelia has a levitation effect, she causes all creatures in the area with less than 100 health to fly in an orbit around her. She has no delay between attacks if close to the target or levitated. When health drops below 20%, Cornelia fully regenerates, gains levitation effect, and summons 3 poisoned chakras. This ability can only be used twice. When health drops below 5%, Cornelia quickly regenerates 5 to 7%. She can't use this ability if she has a weakness effect. It is possible to finish off Cornelia without a potion of weakness, but for this you need to deal damage equal to 5% of her maximum HP in one hit. This can easily be dealt with a terrible sword. Cornelia can pull the target towards herself or make a dash towards the target herself. This usually happens when the distance between Cornelia and its target increases. Cornelia completely ignores ranged attack damage. Cornelia's base damage is 1, but she takes bonus damage from wielding weapons. The bonus damage of her typical weapon is 14. When fighting Cornelia, it's recommended to use a shield, as she can deal a lot of damage in a short time. The mod also adds a couple of unique blocks. The frozen chest is the final treasure of Aquamirae. Among other valuables, it contains a ruin of the storm and an echo of the ship graveyard. It can only be opened with a frozen key. It's unbreakable until you open it. It may contain a dagger of greed and collectible paintings. Collectible paintings are decorative blocks depicting Aquamirae locations and creatures. There are 4 different paintings in total. The luminescent lamp is a light source and decoration that can be placed underwater. The luminescent bubble is a light source that can be placed afloat. It's used to create underwater paths as it speeds up the swimming speed of all players around it. Now we'll look at the items of the mod. The horn is an item used to summon the ghost of Captain Cornelia. It can be found on the ship. It will only work if the following conditions are met. There is water nearby that has access to the surface and belongs to the biome. The frozen key is an item used to open the frozen chest, dropped by killing the ghost of Captain Cornelia. Logbooks contain lore entries that explain the events taking place in the biome. There are 3 logbooks in total located on the ship, the outpost, and in the shelter. The Scroll of the Dead Sea is an item with a random effect that can either reward you with a powerful buff or a valuable item, or cause trouble or kill you. Pouches are items with random loot. They contain armor pieces with unique base bonuses. The Echo of the Ship Graveyard is an item that personifies the essence of the Ice Maze. It can be used to repair most Aquamirae armor and weapons. It mostly drops from strong mobs and can also be the contents of chests and structures. Holding the Echo in your hands, you will hear the ambience of the Ice Maze. The Ruin of the Storm is the most valuable item in Aquamirae. It's guaranteed to spawn in a frozen chest. It can be inserted into any weapon and permanently increase its damage in cold biomes by 33%. Raw spinefish is a common food that can be obtained from spinefish and can be cooked. After consumption, you will get sharp bones. Sea casserole is a compound food that can be obtained through crafting. It increases damage and reduces abilities cooldown. Sea stew is a compound food that can be obtained through crafting. It increases damage and abilities power. Poseidon's Breakfast is an enhanced version of Sea Stew. It significantly increases abilities power and significantly reduces abilities cooldown. Now for the tools and armor of the mod. Terrible Armour has 2 special defensive abilities. 3-bolt armor is armor that allows you to dive underwater and provides oxygen and protects against freezing. The helmet of this set is non-craftable and it can be obtained from the ghost of Captain Cornelia with 100% drop rate. Abyssal armor is the most expensive armor to craft. It has 3 special defensive abilities. It has 2 helmet options. Different helmets grant different full set abilities. It's impossible to activate both abilities at the same time. The Terrible Sword is a situational weapon capable of dealing a lot of damage in one hit. It has high critical damage and critical chance. It deals 1 damage to you if the hit doesn't kill the target. It also ignores armor. The Fin Cutter is a weapon where the more you suffer, the worse revenge will be. It increases damage from each missing heart container. The Poisoned Blade is a simple weapon that poisons the target. Remnant Saber is a weapon made from spinefish remnants. It deals double damage underwater. The Divider is a weapon capable of quickly inflicting heavy damage on enemies with a large supply of health. It temporarily reduces the target's maximum health by a percentage per hit. The Whisper of the Abyss is a weapon capable of significantly damaging targets with high armor. It temporarily reduces the target's armor by a percentage per hit. The Dagger of Greed is a cursed weapon that inflicts violence. When attacking villagers and illagers, they will drop emeralds. When attacking villagers, there is a chance to get a bad omen effect. It can't be repaired by any means, including enchantment. It doesn't have a crafting recipe, it can only be obtained from ice maze chests. The coral lance is the weapon carried by the ghosts of Captain Cornelia. It doubles damage against all creatures in the ice maze. It has a small chance to drop from the ghost of Captain Cornelia. That will do it for the Aquamirae mod. It's available to download in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.